Hi everyone, thanks for joining me for our first in the series of Loom Knitting Basics. My name is Sharon Rice. I am the Makerspace Librarian here at the Rawlings Library. And this program is being done as a part of the Winter of Reading. Watching this program will give you a space on the board for a virtual program attendance, but also we are doing a maker challenge here at the Rawlings Library. And if you make some loom knit hats and enjoy the process, please do feel free to come in and donate your hats here at the Idea Factory on the second floor. And I will take them to Posada or one of the rescue missions so that we can keep all of our citizens of Pueblo warm and cozy this winter. All right, that's the logistics out of the way. So let's go ahead and get started on how to do loom knitting. First and foremost, this is a knitting loom. This is a little bit smaller than what you would probably use to make an adult hat. The reason being is that I need to do this somewhat quickly, so I'm using a slightly smaller loom. That's okay. They come in lots and lots of different sizes. If you just look up adult hat size knitting loom on Amazon, you should find them. They also have them at Hobby Lobby and Joann Fabrics here in Pueblo. This one came with 3 different loom sizes. The other ones are smaller. A loom hook, which is a really important tool. You'll need to use this. A yarn and a yarn needle. Here's an optional tool I have. I have a stitch, a row counter stitch marker here. This helps me keep track of how many rows I've done because I often have to put my work down. I got this one from Sassy Fiber Tools. If you're interested in picking up one yourself, head on over to Artisan Textiles. She has a display there. All right, let's get started. I'm using chunky yarn. This is, I love this yarn, Chunky. I also got that at Hobby Lobby. It's not an expensive yarn. It's 100% acrylic, and it's a good weight to use on knitting looms. You don't want to use anything too thin or you'll just have a lot of spaces for cold air to get in on your hat, and that's not a great idea. To get started, what we're going to do is make a slip knot. So you're going to make a circle and pull the working end of your yarn, which means the yarn that's attached to your ball, through. You have a slip knot. When you look at your knitting loom, you have this little button right here. That tells us where the round, the going around the loom, starts. We want to put our slip knot over the peg directly to the right of it. So we'll put that there, and to tighten it up, we'll tug on the end of the yarn that's the closest to the ball. So that's the working end of the yarn. All right, so that's also going to be our first stitch. To do the rest of the stitches on the loom, we're going to take the yarn behind a peg and wrap it around. This is called an Ewrap. I don't know why, unless of course it looks like an E, but I just think it's relatively simple as long as you end up with your yarn behind the peg every time. So around and behind, around and behind, around and behind, around and behind, and just keep going as you go around the peg. And I'm going to turn this to this side too so that you can see what I'm doing. Okay. All right, if you can see that, I'm just going around and behind, around and behind, and I'm going to go all the way around the loom, and I'm going to go a little bit quicker now. Okay. And then once you get the hang of this, you'll be able to go really fast. What's really nice about this knitting is that anybody really can do it. I know that my brothers and sisters have given it a try and they're able to do it. So now we have that first row of stitches, but they're way up here at the top of the peg. So we're going to want to actually push them down so that they're on the bottom. And hold on to this because it's really easy to get your stitches unwrapped as you go. So I just have figured out that I need to hold on to that working yarn while I'm pushing everything down, or I will lose some of my stitches. All right, okay, so here we are. All the way around, it's down at the bottom. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna wrap it around again. So here we go. So this particular loom that makes about a child-size hat is 30 pegs, and I think that the adult one is 36 pegs. But it has the same features, and when I'm able to do classes in person, I will have the adult size hats for the classes. It takes about an hour to finish a full hat once you're confident in what you're doing. All right, here we go. So there we go. You can see there's one stitch on top and one stitch on bottom. What we're gonna do is we're gonna start at the stitch that has the tail, also the side that has the stitch marker on it, also the peg that's just to the right of that starting marker there on the loom. This is where we're gonna take our knitting hook. We're going to, I'm gonna tip this a little bit, insert it through the bottom loop and pull it over. And this is a part where I tell you, make sure you don't wrap too tightly, because then you won't be able to grab those loops and pull them over comfortably. But here we go. See how we're doing that? Slide it through that groove that's on the peg, flip it over. You can also probably do this with a small crochet hook, but I recommend you getting a yarn or the loom hook like this. It makes things a lot easier because it's designed to go into that groove there on the knitting loom. And in case you're wondering, I'm holding on to that working yarn pretty tightly so it doesn't go on an adventure and everything unravel. It's just like regular knitting. If you let the yarn go and then pull it, everything will come right apart. All right, so we are getting close to the end of our first round of stitches. All right, we've done our first round, which means that on our counter, we can see it. I'm gonna say I've done one round. All right, so in doing that, you've just learned the basics, the very basics of how to loom knit. To get started again, we're gonna push everything back down to the bottom. And it gets a little easier as you get more on the pegs. Push it all back down to the bottom, and we'll wrap again. You're gonna do this 14 times. For the pattern that I'm using, we're gonna do 14 times, but as you get more comfortable, you can do it more or less. As we knit, it's going to come out the bottom and it's gonna start to curl up. That's okay. We're actually going to make a fold brimmed hat where we put that curled end up here and knit those together so it's a double thickness. You don't have to do that. It can be just a roll brim hat if you want to, but the full brim hat is a nicer finish. So that's what we're going to be doing in this class, and that will be our next video. All right, guys, keep wrapping and knitting on your loom. Make sure you keep track of those rows, and I will see you back for our second video in the series where we make the brim. Until I get to see you next time, stay safe, stay healthy, and keep making, and have a wonderful day.